Good afternoon, Cedarfield family. I hope everyone is doing well on this fine January 18th at 3 o'clock. Those of you that are here at the community, thank you for tuning in. And if you are listening to this video tonight, we really appreciate your time, your personal time, your family time, taking time out to listen to information about Cedarfield. Today's format is very simple. Yours truly has 4 topics to talk about. One is our current situation here by the numbers and within the Commonwealth. 2, I want to talk a little bit about our evolving preparedness plan around COVID-19 with one adjustment that we need to make effective today. Talk a little bit, the third thing is the vaccine rollout for assisted living, memory support, and independent living. And then the fourth thing is a frequently asked questions segment. So here's the cell phone number. Those of you that wish to text, please do so. If you have if you're by your computer and email is better, please feel free to use the mshaw@pinnacleliving.org email address, and we will just answer your questions just as many as they come in. It is really an important week to make sure that we're all ironing out and are familiar with the plan going into Fridays, providing the vaccine for 450 people. There's some logistics here to really plan out and keep everybody on the same page. So first, our current situation by the numbers as it relates to the 7-day positivity rate. In the Commonwealth of Virginia on January 18th, we have a 7-day positivity rate of 13.6, which is down 1 full percentage point from Friday, where we were at 14.6. Central Virginia is at 15.8, and on Friday we were at 17.3. Henrico County is at 10.9, which is down from Friday of 12.3. Richmond is at 8.7 today, and Friday we were at 9.4. And Chesterfield is down ever so slightly, 14.1. And Friday they were at 14.2. So all good news with that dashboard as we continue to use the 7-day positivity rates to gauge the extent of the virus in the marketplace. Our Cedarfield dashboard has really changed dramatically since Friday, so I want to share some of that data with you just so we're all on the same page. In Sunshine Plaza, our dashboard is green at this point, so that's good news. We are just monitoring one resident who was contact traced way in the beginning of last week. But for all intents and purposes, Sunshine Plaza is green. That resident that I just mentioned is doing very well. We have no COVID cases or tests pending for any resident or team member. Same thing holds true for assisted living. We have one exposure of a team member, and that is a result of her husband from another contact tracing. So we have we have 0 positive cases in assisted living, and we are continuing to work with one particular team member who has been exposed to a positive. We've contact traced that in particular individual, and we still consider assisted living as a green dashboard for residents and team members. So that's good news. Healthcare. In our north neighborhood, we have, just to give you a little bit more of some data to understand the complexity of this neighborhood. We have 15 residents that live in the North household. Currently, we have 4 positive cases in that neighborhood, one of which cycled in from independent living last week, and so there are 4 positive cases. The good news in that number is, as of tomorrow, 2 of them will cycle off of their 14-day quarantine. So all 4 of them are doing well. 2 of them are cycling off as tomorrow. So by Wednesday, that number will be reduced to 2. So that's good news. We are completing testing, weekly testing in that neighborhood with residents and team members. We have 100% of residents and team members who have gone through now their 2nd week of weekly testing, and nothing, that one additional positive popped up over on Friday, but for all intents and purposes, North household is doing very well. The staff are doing well, and the other 2 positive cases will cycle off. One will cycle off this weekend, and then it's really too soon for the 4th one to really comment on, but probably middle of next week. But all 4 are doing very well. In the central household, we have 16 residents that live in that central household. Currently, we have one positive team, a contractor, a hospice contractor that was positive, which led us to some contact tracing, and that person should cycle off soon. But we do have 2 residents that are positive. They've been positive. One has been positive for a while, and that person will actually cycle off today. I heard this morning that he is doing very well, so that's good news. And then another resident will cycle off middle of next week, and that resident continues to do well as of this hour. We have 2 team members that are positive in this particular neighborhood, and one will cycle off of their 14-day quarantine at the middle of this week, and the second one this weekend, and both of those team members are doing well. In the South household, we have 16 residents that live in the South household, and we have 0 residents that are positive, so that's good. We have 1 test that's pending. For some reason, that test is being held up at Jeanette Works. And we have 1 team member that is positive, and she should be cycling off here shortly as well. So our 3 households each of them have their positives and some pending cases, both residents and team members. The good news is all of them are doing well, even probably the most fragile resident that is positive in healthcare. One of them is actually positive. That particular resident doing well. So thank you for your prayers, your positive energy that you've been sending their way. All things are heading in the right direction. Independent living is a little bit different. So in independent living, we have 1 resident that is positive, and this particular resident is doing very well. I touched base with this resident on Saturday. Things seem to be doing, like I said, very well for this resident. So that's the good news. We only have 1 resident in independent living in the main building that is COVID positive. We have 0 in the cottages. Dining services is a little bit different from Friday. We now have a couple of cases that we are working on. We have 3 positive cases in dining services, And as a result of those 3 positive cases, we've done all of our contact tracing, and 2 additional team members, because of that contact tracing, have been under quarantine since Friday. And so we are observing in dining services 5 particular people, all of which are not working here. And because we have more than 3 positive cases in such a large department like this, we are conducting weekly testing. We actually started the weekly testing specifically in dining services today, and we will continue to provide weekly testing in dining services until we know that there is no cases of COVID in that department. In housekeeping, currently we have 2 positive cases, and we have 3 team members who have had exposure outside of the walls of Cedarfield. So in housekeeping, we have our eye of folks that work in independent living on 5 people, and these 5 folks are 4 of these 5 are doing very well. 1 is mildly sick, and that's it with housekeeping. So let me just run down a couple other departments while we're at. Maintenance is fine, since we're talking about departments here on the January 18th. Our maintenance department is fine. Our wellness and leisure department is fine. Administration, marketing is fine. We just have a little pickle here with housekeeping and dining services. Which leads me to some of our evolving preparedness plan. Since we have 5 people that we have our eye on in dining services, we're scaling back one particular area so that we can have team members concentrate on the execution of meal delivery in the main kitchen for lunch and dinner, and having our in-person experience within the pub and the grill and Prima. And so in order to pull off regular dining service in those new spaces, in the Atrium Cafe, we are going to provide coffee service, continue to provide coffee service tomorrow and ongoing, but we're not going to provide breakfast, lunch, and dinner in the Atrium Cafe for residents or team members. We do have since breakfast is probably the most sensitive meal in the Atrium Cafe, in any one given day, there's approximately 7 residents that receive a breakfast from the Atrium Cafe. David Stewart and the team are reaching out to those 7 so that they can understand how they actually can get a breakfast, which we can provide. So we're going to, effective this afternoon, we're making this adjustment so that the staff we have enough labor over in the main kitchen, and like I said, those 3 other restaurants to provide service and meal delivery. So if anybody has any questions about this adjustment, please feel free to call either the administration suite or feel free to contact David and Jim in dining services, and we can walk you through that. In terms of the Walgreens rollout, very excited. This is a really big day, big week for residents in independent living and assisted living memory support. Like I said at the top of the hour, we're going to try to facilitate 450 vaccines on Friday. As of this morning, we did get confirmation that A, they are coming, and B, they have enough vaccine for Friday, and they have enough vaccine for the 21st day. They are coming with the same lead pharmacist that was here last Thursday. She actually requested to come back to Cedarfield, as I mentioned last week, because of the way Cedarfield treated her. Britton is her name. Britton is coming with 6 pharmacists and 2 technicians. So Renee has assembled a team of people to iron out the plan of how we're going to execute this on Friday. And we will publish, as I promised last week, we will publish a memo by 5 o'clock tomorrow to explain in more detail what I'm about to say. But we're going to separate it into 3 zones. Actually 4 if you consider assisted living. So there'll be, for those of you that are living in assisted living and or families that are listening tonight, there'll be a pharmacist that in the morning of Friday will walk around door to door to administer the vaccine for assisted living folks and memory support. So that should happen in the morning. It should happen relatively quickly. There are 44 people that we have to provide vaccine for. If you live in a cottage, we're going to set up a zone in the clubhouse. So just wrap your head around the clubhouse. We will get more specific in this memo tomorrow about different zones within the court and the lane of what time you want folks to come into the clubhouse. We're not going to get very specific to an address with a very specific time, but we are going to provide a zone within the cottages and give you an hour range for that zone to come. So that's for the cottages. If you live here in the main building, we're going to set up a zone. We're going to set up 2 zones. One zone is going to be in the Atrium Cafe. If you live on the 1st or the 2nd floor, whether you're A, B, C, or D wing, 1st or 2nd floor, you're going to go to the Atrium Cafe. And if you live on the 3rd or 4th floor, A, B, C, or D wing, you're going to come to the Fellowship Hall. And again, we're going to get a little bit more specific tomorrow in this memo about time ranges for folks that live in those areas. But that's in general our approach. I cannot stress enough that we do not have enough partitions. Those of you that are familiar with the Fellowship Hall, we have these maroon partitions here, so we can separate out the pharmacist with these partitions here in this room. There is not enough supply in the marketplace to even rent these. And so those of you that live in the cottages, and those of you that live on the 1st or 2nd floor of this main building, when you get to the clubhouse or the Atrium Cafe, we're going to set up those areas with tables and chairs, but you will not go behind a partition. So I say all that is just to gear people up to wear a very loose t-shirt once you come to your assigned time. That way they can just roll up your sleeve real quick. You don't have to worry about disrobing for them to get your arm out of the sleeve and what have you. You can I would encourage everyone to find your favorite oldest t-shirt so that you can just roll up the sleeve, put on a jacket over top, a fleece of some kind, and come on down. So gear up for a short sleeve. This is a once-in-a-lifetime event that many, obviously, you already know. So when you get to these particular zones, the zones will be set up, A, for observation, B, for hydration, and C, to actually celebrate the moment a little bit. We encourage you to bring your cell phone or a camera, and you'll have the opportunity to take a picture in these zones so that you can have a keepsake for the rest of your life. Additionally, we are asking that everyone that's coming for a vaccine on Friday to bring your driver's license and an identification card. I know that we received this question last week. If I don't drive, I don't have a driver's license, what type of identification card should I bring? And we're still trying to figure that answer out from the Walgreens representative. Additionally, on Friday, Going into Saturday, we will have nurse coverage here in the main building. Additional nurse coverage outside of nurses that work in and around the health center in case there's any residents that have reactions to the vaccine on Friday. Good news is last week on Thursday, we provided the vaccine for 251 people. And as of this morning, I am not aware of any team member or a couple of residents that we provided the vaccine for having any reaction whatsoever. Maybe a little loose arm, little fatigue, but nothing that would permit somebody from going about their daily rhythm, their natural daily rhythm over the weekend. So that's all good news. Okay, I'm going to head into some FAQ here, frequently asked questions. I don't believe I see any popping up within email. I don't see any questions come through email, although Renee has a couple of them. Thank you to the residents or team members that have provided these questions. So first question is, regardless of their age, are all IL residents going to be able to be vaccinated on Friday? So if I'm understanding this question, phase 1B and phase 1C have an age differential for people over 65. When they first came out with the phase 1A, 1B, and 1C plan, they said in 1B it would be 75 or older, and then in 1C it would be 65 and older. And so we have not been given any age restriction for Friday. So the answer is yes. Regardless of your age, you will receive the vaccine on Friday. Second question is, did those positive team members get the vaccine? Those positive team members have not been cross-referenced to the ones who, to the list of folks that we provided the vaccine for on Thursday. We are going through this exercise as we speak. Bring short sleeves, driver's license, or photo ID, patients. Oh, this is Renee. So Renee says, quote, please bring your short sleeve t-shirt, your driver's license, or a photo ID, and please be patient. We're going to make this as seamless as possible so that people don't have to wait in long lines. But as my mother used to say often, patience is a virtue. So we have a tall task of getting 450 people through all in one day. Is the Atrium Cafe open today for carryout? I don't believe the Atrium Cafe is open for carryout. Can we ask David? Can we call David real quick? We're phoning a friend right now, asking for clarity. The question is Atrium Cafe open for carryout right now? And I believe the answer is no. Other than that, while we await this answer, just know that there is a team of nine of us right now actively working to plan out Friday. We met today in the morning, and we also have intentions to meet here in 5 minutes, again to iron out details so that the memo that we publish tomorrow is the plan intending for us to execute on Friday. And so please look forward to a memo by 5 o'clock tomorrow with all of the details of where to go depending upon where you live on Friday. The clinic will start at 9 o'clock, and it probably will run to about 5 o'clock on Friday night, to give you kind of a duration. There's about 80 vaccines that we have to get through per floor, and so that is going to be a tall task with 6 pharmacists. Doing the math, we came up with almost 5 minutes per shot per vaccine, and so the pharmacists are they're going to be busy all day long. So with 6 pharmacists, it'll be a stretch to complete it between 9 and 5, but we're going to make it as seamless as we can. We intend to have 15 to 20 volunteers from Cedarfield's team to help them with their planning. We're going to probably put 5 people per zone to help them with registration, temperature controls, validating everyone's vaccine administration record, documenting the license number on the VAR form, and helping provide traffic. Additionally, we intend to have a nurse and a CNA in each of these zones, particularly the observation area, so that we can help any resident that wishes to stay, not mandatory for 15 minutes, but if you wish to stay to be observed, you can certainly do that under the direction of some clinical support. So, okay, 2 more questions have come in. The Atrium Cafe is closed today. If anyone that normally calls the Atrium Cafe for dinner tonight, I would strongly encourage you to call the hostess stand, and they will patch you into one of the call center representatives so that they can get you a hot meal for tonight. Traffic manage plan, looking at the shuttle. That is true. We are looking, since there's 85 cottages and about 127 people that need to get the vaccine from the cottages, we're also looking at providing a shuttle for folks in the cottages to get to the clubhouse, since we know that there's a very limited number of parking spaces outside the clubhouse. Okay, that is all that's coming in. Thank you so much for your attention today and tuning in. If anybody has any questions that are urgent, please feel free to call down to the administration suite. Otherwise, look forward to our memo that we intend to publish tomorrow. I hope you all have a great night and a better morning, and I'll talk with you soon. Have a great day.